Last time we talked, you were training to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah, I was trying to get into it, but then I kind of realized that, look, man, I have a lot of respect for guys in the pro wrestling industry. They have way more injuries, and there is a much more dangerous sport than mine. That being said, as far as the health of your body, you know what I mean? Look, the mental fortitude to walk out there and fight in front of a bunch of people. Look, pro wrestling, do they have that? No, that's not the same, you know, because they're not nervous about outcomes and beating somebody and you know, but they're still going out there performing, and they got to go out there and get hurt and take dives and bumps, you know, that they know they're going to do backstage. In fact, you know, you can go into, you know, at least I can go into a fight and hope that I'm not that injured by the time.
Yeah, you can come out of a fight unscathed. You could.
Yeah, pretty much when you guys, those pro wrestlers are very scathed, you know?
Yeah, you're always bumping.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I trained it for a little bit, and we got first part, I seemed very motivated at first because, you know, they said, oh, we got to learn how to tumble. I'm like, oh, watch this. I can do cartwheels and you know, the bumps, the front flip land on your back. I'm like, no problem. You know, from my wrestling and jiu-jitsu background, you know, the dexterity and the agility to roll around, yeah, no issues. And even taking bumps, just hitting the canvas was fun. I'm like, oh, this is fun, you know what I mean? But then when it started like taking shots and getting twisted on and giving up my limbs to open up, you know, it was just too difficult for me. And then, you know, watching Austin Aries, you know, just in the gym, he got injured training. You know what I mean? He did it was like I think it's one of his signature moves, like a 720. He like jumped off the rope where he does a front flip and
450,
then 450,
yeah.
And then landed on his face, right? In fact, he's such a good, like, so impressive to watch because so many times I didn't know what was real and what wasn't. Like, hey, wait a minute. Even then, I had to like about a minute pass. I'm like, hey, is this real now, or is this? Did you really? And sure enough, he ripped the top of his nose, basically the tissue. I don't know what that's called that separates your two nostrils. He ripped it so bad that it basically had one large nostril when he looked up because he landed.
Gosh.
What is it?
I don't know. I'm just saying, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow. That is.
Yeah, so that's why I realized, like, you know what? I've already had a long life of a career that has not been the best to my body. This might not be a second life for me.
Speaking of pro wrestling, how close were you to Mir versus Lesnar 3?
You know what? I wanted to put myself in position by, you know, going out there and being successful at it. But, you know, it was one of those things that it wasn't even in the talks yet.
But you guys were 1-1. Like, what about it happening again in UFC?
Oh, I would be game, you know. Like,
I mean, maybe not now, but were we ever close to it?
No.
5, why not?
Not on his radar. I guess it's just not that he wants to do it. I mean, when you're the A side, you know, he's the draw money-wise. He gets to make more of the calls.
And I guess he avenged the loss, and I guess
yeah, I think that going out there, you know, from what I was told, that because of the way I responded after the second fight, that he truly felt that I was a little off. You know what I mean? Like, I think in Lesnar's mind, like, how could you want to fight me again? Like, you know, people don't, you know, so there's something wrong with you. And I think it kind of made him uneasy. You know what I mean?
What's more memorable from UFC 100? Is it him beating you, or is it his speech after with the Coors Light and Bud Light and the whole thing there?
I liked the speech afterwards. I thought that, you know, it was definitely, you know, home to his demographic, you know.
I mean, he's not a guy that does a lot of promos. Like in WWE, he barely talks. For WWE fans now to go back and watch that promo, they're like, give us this Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know much about his pro wrestling. I don't watch that often, so I don't know how bad he is at it. But I think that he's definitely a guy, like, from what I understand, listening to other people in the industry, you know, he does the bare minimum of what he has to do to cash a check. And, you know, and I don't fault him for that. Like, hey, look, we all got to make money. And, you know, I think he's more naturally a fighter than he is a pro wrestler. And so I think that, you know, it's not his first love, but financially it pays better. And obviously he can continue to do it for a lot longer.
Is he your number one rival? Is he the one person that people talk to you about the most, or is it someone else?
No, definitely Lesnar would be the number one I get spoken to about, you know what I mean?
And then who is it?
Nogueira, you know, just because fans of the sport, more Nogueira. Fans that are casual fans of the UFC, you know, that, you know, Brock is who they talk to me about. But if they're like a hardcore, if they know who Pride, you know, oh, they know about Pride, they know Fedor and all that, you know, those times, you know, when, you know, Vanderlei Silva was, you know, the Axeman, or what was it called? What was Vanderlei's nickname?
Yeah, well, the Axe Murderer, was it?
Yeah, the Axe Murderer, yeah. So, you know, they sit there and talk about, if they're fans that understand what that means, then yeah, then they talk to me about Nogueira.
Yeah.